Okay, I'd like to begin now. We have Yael with us. Hi, Yael. How are you?
Hi, thank
Welcome.
you. I'm sorry I had to go to my car because I don't have a great internet in my home. So I'm very sorry. In my car. It's not very
Yes.
comfortable, but I hope it will be okay.
If it works for you, Yael, it works for us. Okay. We're,
Okay, thank you.
all right. Terrific. Terrific. So thank you, ladies, gentlemen, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today, this evening, this morning. Okay. And I can still say Shavua Tov to everybody here. Um, and it's very exciting for us today to have this Zoom with Yael Shevach, okay? But I'm going to tell you, my name is Gila Slonim, and I volunteer at the Nachala movement. Um, Working? Okay, I volunteer at the Nachala movement together with my many members of my family. So I have here my daughter-in-law, Lital Slonim. Say hello, Lital. Okay.
Great to see
Okay. And Lital actually met my son through her work at Nachala. And when I say her work, I mean voluntarily, because we all volunteer at Nachala. And my husband, Zev, who's here as well. And we're all part of this exciting team who are working for Nachala. And Nachala is basically a movement which we work to expand the areas of Yehuda and Shomron. Yehuda and Shomron is in the heart of Eretz Israel, of our homeland. And for various reasons, which is like very difficult for us to comprehend, still for me, it's hard to understand that we can't build freely in our own homeland in Eretz Israel. But there's a reality here. There's a reality that we're acknowledging, and we're working as hard as we can to expand and to build in Yehuda and Shomron. We do this in various ways. So obviously we're establishing new townships and settlements. And if you heard of the settlement of Evyatar, which was established about a year ago, okay, that was the initiative of Nachala. And we create core groups of young people, we call that Garinim, who are prepared and ready to go up and settle these various points of areas in Yehuda and Shomron, that where we are expanding to. We work on educating youth, okay, and educating people in general to understand about Yehuda and Shomron. And we are an ex-parliamentary lobby group. So if you can't get hold of Lital, it's because she's in the Knesset as part of the lobby. And actually, the head of Nachala is, we have Tzvi Elimelech Sherbach, grandson of Rav Levinger, who basically, it was under him that Nachala was established over 15 years ago, and Daniela Weiss. Okay, she's also the head of Nachala. Daniela is actually going to do her utmost to join us later on in the call today. She is, as if you know Daniela, you know that she is a very vibrant, energetic, incredible woman, also being called the strongest woman, I think the strongest person in the Shomron. And please God, she'll be able to make it and join us later, and you'll understand why we say that. Okay. And if you can't get hold of them, they're in the Knesset or wherever it may be. And Zev and I, Lital and my son, we're part of the overseas branch of Nachala, and Lital actually directs the overseas area, the overseas operation of Nachala. Lital and I are what we call brave women, because this is a mother-in-law and daughter-in-law team, and we travel the world together, and it's a big bracha. Working for Eretz Israel is always a bracha for everybody. And okay, and I mean it. I really, really mean it. We have seen many brachot in our lives because we are working for Eretz Israel. One of the things that Nachala does is land redemption. What is land redemption? We purchase land from the Arabs we purchase the land, and Arabs are willing and happy to sell us the land. And we learned that from Avram Avinu, who purchased Ma'arat HaMachpelah, the cave of the forefathers, cave of the patriarchs in Hebron. And then we populated with Jewish people, obviously, this area. So where Yael lives today is Chavat Gilad. Chavat Gilad was an area, is a township that was purchased. The land was purchased by Moshe Zar. And today it is a beautiful, flourishing township where Yael lives. Yael has a very special story that she's going to share with us today. Okay, she is the mother of 6 children, Bli Ayin Hara, and 4 years ago, her husband, Rav Raziel Shevach, was on his way home from performing a Brit in Kdumim, which is also in the western part of the Shomron, not far, and at the entrance to the Yishuv, he was shot and murdered. Yael has gone through this, and you'll see and you'll hear a story of strength, of power, and lots of choices that Yael has made. Yael still lives in Chavat Gilad today, and she's chosen to do that. And I'm not sure that everybody would do that. And we want to hear from Yael what has made her make those choices and how she moves on with her life in such a positive way. Because Yael today is a personality that you will hear about on a lot of the Israeli networks. Yael is there. Okay, so she's really taken her lot and made the absolute best out of it. And I think we could all learn so much from Yael. Okay, Yael, please.
So hi, and thank you for being here and listening for everything. I'm sorry for the unstable. You hear me good?
We hear you beautifully. Thank you.
I didn't hear you at much, so I don't know what you told them about me, but I will start with the title because I think it's very important to understand the story and to me to continue the what happened after that. So I'm Yael, and I live in Chavat Gilad. I am 36, and I have 6 children. My oldest, she's 14 and a half, and my last one is 5. And we live. Chavat Gilad is in the Samaria in the enter of the Samaria. And the title of the reason that I'm here is because I'm a widow of a terrorism attack. My husband was shot in a terrorism attack 4 years ago when he was in his way at home. And I have to choose what to tell you because I feel I want to translate to give you all the story, but I want to be specific. So I'll try with the end of the story. The end, I mean, the beginning for me, but it was the end of my first story with my husband. When I heard when we knew that this is the end of him, I was at home and I called him. It was his way back from Tel Aviv. He has a Brit Milah, and in his way back, a terrorist shot him, because he has a very appearance of a Jew man. He has a peot and a big kippah, and he looked like a very Jew man. So I know, and I think everyone know that this is what the terrorists search. He wasn't the first one that was looked like this, and they tried to kill. So after he was shot, I called him. I didn't know this is the story. I called him because he was in his way back, and it has to be a shiur Torah in my home, and I wanted to know if he will come. He will speak.
He will be there on time. You wanted to know if he's going to come.
Yeah, on time. Yeah. And when I called him, it was exactly in the moment that he was shot, and he told me I was shot. I'm in the enter of Chavat Gilad. I am injured, and I called the MADA and all the army and everyone to know that people can go and help him and give him secure, first secure, and
Yeah.
I it was a very hard moment because I'm at home with my children. They was at sleep at the bed, but didn't sleep, and they came out from the bed and came to ask what happened because they heard that something very bad happened. That they heard me screaming, and so they understand that something bad is happening. I try to relax them because I talked to him, and when I talked to him, I understood that he is injured, but I didn't know that this is the story. I thought, and this is what I tell them and to myself, that it will be okay. He will go to the hospital. They will help him to I don't know, to do everything they need to do, and we will be okay. We will be a family with a father with a. I don't even know what told them, but I didn't know. I didn't have a moment of this idea of the story that maybe I won't see him again. It was a chesed, a big chesed Hashem for me, because
Kindness from Hashem.
this moment helped me to be okay with them and to show them that we can be in relax, and we can pray, we can do things. And then I went to the hospital. Someone came to take me, and the children, they stayed home with my neighbor. My husband was a very special man. He was a rabbi of the yeshuv. He had a lot of things that he did for Am Israel and for himself. He was very connected to Am Israel. And at this moment, I felt it very much, because when I came to the hospital, at the way, I asked for the driver to stop at the place where the shot, to take his tefillin, because I know my husband, and I know that maybe he's in the hospital, and the story I told to myself that it will be okay. So I need the tefillin for tomorrow morning, and there were there a lot of people. Everyone wanted to help. Everyone wanted to be a part of this moment. And even after, when we go to the hospital, it was all my family, but with the family, it was a lot of people who heard the name of him, and they knew that this is him, and they wanted to be with us at this moment. And when I came to the hospital, a few moments after that, a doctor came and said to us that he didn't make it. And it was a very hard moment, a very dark moment. Everything that I thought will be my life, I understand that all my life is broken, and it's not a little broke, it's everything is broken for me. And I always, when I think about this moment, it's like in Megillat Echa, in Tisha B'Av, when we read the first perek in Megillat Echa. The second pasuk is ברכות תבכה בלילה ודיבתה לחייה ואין לה מנחם מכל אוהביה. It said that she's crying in the night, and there is no console that can help her to go out with it. For me, it's like to learn everything that was very normal for me at this moment. Even to take a breath, it was very hard to think about it and to do it. I had nothing in my head but this moment that my husband left. And after that, a few moments after that, I had to start to get a very hard decision about our life. It's a big absurd that when someone is dead, you need now to stop to crying and try to I don't know, to make a big party, a funeral. It's a big party when you think about it. It's something very big.
A big event.
A big event. No, it's like a party. You need to think who need to talk, and who need to be there, and where it will be, and what we will eat. A lot of moment that it's very hard to think about it when you have nothing in yourself. you are in the dark, and even your children, you don't know where are they. I think about it today because today was the funeral of another man from Kida, Noam Raz, and I heard about. I knew a few family there, and I heard it's so like what we had, and every time it's like you do that again. So I'm in there now. So after that, I had to decide where to bury him because I live in Chavat Gilad. Chavat Gilad is in the Samaria. It's a very young village, a little village. We are now 70 family, but when my husband was murdered, we were, I think, 34 family, and it's a big.
Yeah, it's beautiful to hear about the expansion and the new homes there. Wow.
Yeah, in 4 years, yeah, it's a good thing. But at this moment, we were a 34 family. So, and no one was dead at this moment. And at Me'av we don't need to think about it because we are very young. And
Chavat Gilad is a young community. So thank God there were no deaths.
Yes.
There were no deaths.
And the other reason is that we are a illegal place from the government. Even the place has been nikna.
Has been purchased, bought.
Have been purchased by a Jew man who even Rasham Batabo.
Okay, it's listed in the authorities. It's legally listed. Yeah.
It has to be a legal place, but because of the politician and because of the I don't know even why we are not legal, and so we don't have a cemetery. But I don't know, from this very dark moment, very dark place, I had the straight to say that I want him to be buried at Chavat Gilad. And it was a very siyata dishmaya, very chesed from everywhere, because all the people who heard that decide to take it and do it and build this cemetery at this night. All the people at Chavat Gilad, that they are people who work with the hands, and there was very sad about the death of my husband, because he was like a rabbi for them. They
Yael's frozen for a second. Okay, I'm sure she'll come back in a minute. 1 second. Yael, you're frozen for a second. Yeah. Okay. That's the wonders of the Zoom and the difficulties of the Zoom. Okay. Okay, she'll be back with us in a second. But she's gone. We might have lost Yael for a minute. Okay.
You just need to unmute yourself, Yael.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll hear you. Thank you.
Sorry, we are in the Samaria. We have a lot of problem with the internet.
The reception, sometimes it's an issue, right? Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
No problem. Okay, so we were there. We heard you until you were telling us about how the people of Chavat Gilad got together and they actually made a cemetery in order that Rav Raziel could be buried there the next morning, I guess. Yeah?
Yeah, the next morning at 11 in the morning, the cemetery was totally built. It's a very special thing. I don't know if you understand where I live. I live in a mountain with nothing on here, and to build a cemetery, it means to come and get a road and a lot of things that you have to do. That at this moment no one thought about it. And because we are very young, it's not something that you think about it. When you think about a little young place and what you want to build there, you think about a kindergarten, a school, I don't know, a garden for children. You don't think about a cemetery. But when we get this we decide to do this, and everyone take that and make that together. it made something historic, not even for only for us, but for, I think, for maybe for all the people at Israel, because tomorrow morning when there was the funeral, I asked in the radio and in the television that everyone can come, please come, and 2,005 people come.
Wow.
2,500, אמרתי את זה נכון?
2,500 people, 2,500 people turned up. That's incredible.
2,500 people came. I don't know if you understood what it means for a little young village to get a lot of people like this, and to for all the day of all the Shivah, all the time it was a lot of people who come, a lot of politicians, a lot of people who heard about it and wanted to be a part of us and to hang us and to be with us. It was very, very special. And the decision of Bird Raziel at Chavat Gilad helped to the government to decide 3 weeks after that this is the time to start to get Chavat Gilad legal. So it's not the end of the way, because 4 years after it, we are not legal. We are not in the end of the way, but we are much legitimate. We have the legitimation to live there more than before the death of my husband.
So it's a process, and you've really moved forward in that process of Chavat Gilad becoming a legal, fully recognized yishuv.
Yeah, and it was very important for us and for all the little yeshuvim like that, because to be recognized from a situation like that, not everyone can למנף את זה, איך אומרים למנף?
To make this something, to take this situation and really use it as a launching pad and to move ahead.
Use the situation, exactly, to use the situation for something so big and so
meaningful and significant.
Yes, meaningful. But after we decided that, after me and the parents of my husband decided this decision, it was like for me, and maybe not only for me, I think it was the truth, because when you do something true, all the world, I don't know, everyone know that this is what have to be. If it's meaningful, so you have a lot of people that want to be a part of this moment. And after we buried him, and after a moment, I think even now, after 4 years, I still feel that it was the great decision, the מדויק.
Very precise and very correct. It was the right.
It was the correct decision to do that. And when I think about my life at Chavat Gilad, I have a lot of people asked us, why didn't we leave? And what about my children? You don't afraid to live there? So all the time I had the answer that I'm not the problem. We are not the problem. When we live here, we are not in danger more than people at Tel Aviv. And before a year, before 2 years, people couldn't understand that, because the human mind is very great to לשכוח. איך אומרים לשכוח?
Forgets easily. It's very selective.
We are very selective. We know to forget every situation, every hard situation. But now, after 2 weeks, that it doesn't stop to have all the time terrorism attack, not in the Samaria or in Jerusalem, even not in Jerusalem, in Tel Aviv and in Hadera and Bnei Brak. So you can now understand that the problem is not us, and we are maybe a part of the problem, but all the Jewish people are the part of this problem. All the land of Israel is a part of the problem. But if we change that and we let us to say that this is not a problem, this is the solution for us. And we live here because we want to have the solution and to show to everyone, even bimiuchad, to the government, that stop to think that if we live here, so maybe it will be a peace, because we tried that and it doesn't work. So, and I don't know if there is any solution now, and I want to not think about it. I live in my place, I live in my home with my children. I think my children are very hero people because they live with a lot of strength and a lot of faith that that my husband the life we lived before my husband died was a meaningful life, and it was a great life. It was a happy life, and I can't let it in the back. I have to be a part of it, to continue to be a part of this life, for me, for them, for you, for all the people, because I think if you continue with your emet,
truth,
with your truth, if you continue with your truth, so first of all, people want to be a part of this, because the truth is something very medabek.
Exactly, it's very attractive. It attracts people.
Yeah,
Truth
it's attractive.
and simcha. We see your smile.
Yeah, and when you do that with a straight and happiness, and without, it's not. I'm not saying that it's not hard. It's very hard to live here, and all the time to be to need to explain yourself. Why are you living here? And what about your children? It's dangerous. Why are you doing that to them? And what about them? And how did they take the murder of the death of their father? I don't have a great answer for everything. I just want to know that when you continue life with a meaningful and the truth and a happiness and a straight, so people want to be a part of this thing, and people know that this is the truth, and this is what is good for everyone. I want to invite every one of you to see where I live. What's that community? And it's a very special community of people who are very feel they are the heart of Israel. They feel the heart, and when Israel is crying, everyone at Chavat Gilad is crying. When someone feel that something is not good, if in the south or in the north or in the Gush Dan or Jerusalem, we feel it very, very hard, more than everywhere else. And I think this is to live in this place and to have children in this place. This is Ratzon Hashem. This is what Hashem wants for us. So this is my story. I think you can understand more if you come and see. But this is what I have to say.
Thank you, Yael. Wow, that was so inspiring and moving. And obviously you've navigated your path with a lot of wisdom. Okay, we have time for one or two questions. If anybody would like to ask a question, feel free. Okay, I want to ask you, Yael, my question is like, as you have been through all of this and you're bringing up children, and I'm sure you have waves of sadness that come over you, how do you overcome that? And how do you make sure that your simchat chayim, your joy, comes out and keeps on pushing you forward and ahead in your life, and to have that impact on your children, that you're actually bringing your children up despite the difficulties in a happy household?
And I'll tell you a story, a little story, but I think it's very important to understand that at the night when after we were at the hospital and we heard what happened, and we get all these decisions, I went to my parents' home at Kfar Saba, and my children, they brought them there, and because I'm their mother, I had to tell them what happened. They knew someone before that told them, but because I'm the mother, I wanted to tell them in my way. So we were in the bed, me and my 6 children, and I told them that there was a terrorism attack, and Abba was shot, and he didn't make it, and he went to the Shamaim, to the sky with God, and he won't be back. And now we are here, and if we want to feel him, to talk to him, he is in our heart, but we cannot feel him, we cannot see him. It's very hard to tell that to children, and it's very difficult to try to do that and to let the regashot,
feelings, emotions,
to let the feelings be נוכחות, נוכחים.
Present, to give them their
present,
space.
yes.
Yeah.
And so everyone cried, and they were very, very young, very, very young. My oldest was 10 and a half, and they will cry. And after a moment, I don't know, the little one get sleep. So I stayed there with the 2 big, one at 10 and one at 9. And after a moment with the silence, the second girl, the second child, she has 9. She had 9. She asked me a question, a funny question. I have to say, it's a funny question. It was a silence moment, and everyone is sleeping. And I heard her asking me, "Mommy, are we going to school tomorrow?" And she didn't continue. She stopped that. And then the other one, the oldest one, she looked at me and she said, "Mommy, at Purim, are we going to
dress up, wear costumes?
Are we going to dress up a costumes?" And the little sister of my husband, she got married a month after the terrorism attack, and she asked me, "Are we going to go to the wedding, and we will dress dresses and new dresses?" A little question, very funny question, very normal question, and it was very difficult to understand that I just told you the hardest thing of the life. I just broke your heart. What do I care if you go to school tomorrow and if you go to dress up at Purim? It's not important now. But for them, it was very, very important, because this is not a question they asked. So this is the question they asked. But if you
look deeper, if you
dig a little bit, you see another question, another something will come from the heart, the big of the heart. "Mommy, are we going to continue to live?" And for me, when I understand that this is what they want me to say them, for me this is what I'm doing now. For me to tell the story and to continue to live and to be happy and to live a very great life with them. Every birthday it's a big party for us. Every time, every vacation, it's with all the the noise that we can do. For me, it's to answer them that yes, we are continue to live, and this is what we are going to do now for all the rest of our life, and we are going to do that big time, because the life we had was a big life. And this is what we want. This is what I want to show them when I say the story, and when I talk to you, and when I talk to everyone, and when I smile. It's for showing to them, to my children, that I'm not stopping to live. I want to live with them. So I don't know if it answers your question, but I think this is what I wanted to do.
It's this conscious decision that you're going to take life on, and you're going to lead it in the most positive way. And that's the legacy of your husband, to be positive and to be happy.
Yeah, when someone is dead to you, you feel like you want to live twice, once for you and one for him. And when he was so big and so, I don't know, he was a meteor for me. So I want to live twice big, not a little life, a big life.
Amazing, amazing, Yael. Thank you very much. I think you are leading a very big and a very special life today. And it's very inspiring and important for us to hear your incredible, incredible message. So thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, okay, Rafi, yes. One question, okay.
Okay, my English is not so good, but I want to know if she has some kind of feeling of revenge. They kill her husband. They want to kill some enemies, some parties. If there is revenge, feeling of revenge.
So I'll answer you that in my culture, yeah, תרבות, אמרתי נכון?
And your culture, sure.
In my culture, a revenge is not to kill another man. My revenge, and this is what we know from the Shoah, my revenge is continue to live a life with meaningful, where I start them with my husband. And when I said that now we are a 70 family, it's the revenge for me. Because after something like this, people are afraid. Mostly if it's in a place like this. But what happened that because we made that moment so big and so special, so people wanted to be a part of that. And for me, this is the revenge, the big revenge. The biggest revenge I could think about it.
Wow, that's a very amazing.
I'd just like to say there's an expression in English, living well is the best revenge.
Exactly.
Living well, exactly.
I think that Yael's revenge might have started when you established that cemetery for Raziel in Chavat Gilad. That was the first step, and that is a strong step. And as we build and we expand in Yehuda and Shomron, this is the greatest revenge, but it's more than revenge. It's a show of strength of the whole Jewish nation. And Yael is part of this Jewish nation, and her strength is our strength. And I think as you gave us strength today, Yael, and we want to share that strength and make that strength carry on to all of Yehuda and Shomron and Eretz Yisrael and the whole Jewish nation. So thank you for being so incredible, Yael.
Thank you for listening, and thank you for inviting me to speak.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I think when we talk about expanding and we talk about growth and we talk about revenge and creating meaning, adding meaning from tragedies that we have suffered, I think that what Nachala is doing today is meaningful, incredibly meaningful and incredibly important for the pride of the entire Jewish nation. And I'm going to ask Lital, my wonderful daughter-in-law, to talk a little bit more about how we're going to imbue our nation with pride and how we're going to expand our horizons and our beautiful, wonderful homeland. Lital.
Thank you, Gila. Thank you, Yael. It's always give a lot of strength and to hear about this power and strength and that Yael you have. And hello, everyone. Very nice to see you all. Those of you that doesn't know me, I'm Lital Slonim. I have active in Nachala movement for over 15 years. I'm dealing with a political and information department in our movement. I am a building engineer and the mother of 3 lovely children, and I'm happy to be with you all here today. We in the Nachala movement are working to continue the settlement and enterprise, to establish new settlement, to strengthen the Israeli government, to have the power to establish and to build and to make Yehuda and Shomron to be bigger and stronger place. On the one hand, Yehuda and Shomron today, Judea and Samaria, already flourishing region. There is over 250 settlements, cities, township, more than 850,000 Jews that living in those areas in Judea and Samaria in the north of Jerusalem, and we can really have everything there. We have school, we have thriving community life, industry center, culture life, shopping center, and we really have everything today in Yehuda and Shomron. So we all could think to ourselves that we can afford ourselves to lean back and comfortably and think that everything, all the work was done. But in practice, the situation is not like this at all. In Yehuda and Shomron, there are large areas that are empty and now under risk to Arab takeover. This day, there is great struggle over the land of Yehuda and Shomron. The leadership of the Palestinian Authority has made a strong decision that they are moving forward to achieve a Palestinian state by establishing facts on the ground and take over much land that they can. This takeover has strong financial support from Europe countries. This plan has clear aim to taking over all of the area by 2030. They want to finish to establish the Palestinian state until the 2030. The plan focus building strategic places to the Jewish settlement. They are building not legally with no permission and trying to take more and more land as much as they can. According to the Ministry of Defense documentation, the Arabs are taking over approximately 60,000 dunam of land each year, land that belongs for the Jewish settlement and to the Jewish nation. The Israeli government is not stopping this illegal Arab takeover, and the other hand, the government freed the Jewish settlement to develop and to grow. The government does not prevent the Arab from building not legally, and we see that the Jews have more difficulties to expand. The state of Israel lost already 2 million dunams that the Arab took on legally, and the leadership of the Palestinian Authority made a decision that this Palestinian state will be fact on the ground, and they talking about it in the media. They said it loudly everywhere, and they also working very hard to make it happen. And if we, all the Jewish nation, will not wake up to this and act, it might be too late. Today, more and more people are understanding that this takeover of national lands by the Arab are risking the settlement enterprise and also the security of all the Jewish state. We in Nachala movement have set a goal to lead a change in policy and to return the Israeli government to the policy of building and development Yehuda and Shomron. From historical understanding that the combination of pioneering action that, like we always said, make fact on the ground, together with public and political support, will give the Israeli government the strength and to stand in front of this pressure and return to the natural policy of people, of a nation that build and develop his country. In order to lead change in policy in the government, their main factor must be combined. The first one is pioneering action in the field. Like we all know from the history that pioneering moves was very, very critical and changed the situation in the Jewish country. The second one is political and public support. And the third one, to create publicity and support in Israel and also around all the world to support the idea and the basic issue that the Jewish nation are establishing and building their homeland. We dedicated to go on land and we are now going on a big project, establishing in one day new places, new township together. The Israeli government facing strong pressure from all over the world and to freeze the Jewish settlement, and we understand that Zionist and pioneering active will give the government the power to stand in front of this pressure and to return to a policy of building and developing the Yehuda and Shomron area. We, Nachala Settlement Movement, working nonstop on this program. We call it Building the Future. And the idea is a practical work plan for establishing new settlement in all the area of Yehuda and Shomron. Already now, we have groups of family that preparing, raising find the right places. We check everything that will be under the bureaucracy and legally, and we check the land and we pave roads and we make sure that we create a very strong support to each and every one of those garinim. And those family, we're talking here about many family. Each of one of these garinim has a few, at least 10 families in the group. Most of them have 30, 40 families in their group, and they all ready and prepare immediately to leave their comfortable home and to move to a new place, to a new issue, to establish a new Jewish life. And this project will be accompanied by political actions of strong support in Israel and Jewish communities around all over the world. We will do a social media campaign, and we will do a public campaign here in Israel and in different communities all over the world, because we need this support. We understand that the government, when they will see that this action of pioneering, that going and establishing new places, when the government see that this action has strong support from the Jewish community here in Israel and also from the Jewish community from all over the world, it gives them the strength and to stand. And the first step that the program will be in July, 21 of July this year. And you can all ask yourself what the chances of this program to succeed. The history of the Jewish nation is full of brave actions of people determined to change and create new history. We see it through all over our history as a Jewish nation. We are all familiar with the stories of the pioneers who built the country, the difficulties that they faced with from attacks, disease. In their time, the idea of to establish a Jewish country looked crazy, and no one even thought that they will succeed, except those who did believe and act and create a serious change in our nation. Those situations that they deal with seems in those times impossible, but they made their dreams to reality. They act and they succeed. They choose to act to lead the people forward and to save nation from disasters and to create a new future to all of us today. The great spirit that leads in the past, those pioneers, still exist today in our modern days. Just over the last generation, the pioneers have succeeded in changing reality in the settlement action. And those dreams that we all saw and hear is it's something that we all see today. And I want to ask Gila to show us a short video clip that will show us a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Terrific. Thank you, Lital. And I just want to be clear that we all understand the areas of A, B, and C before I put the video, the clip on. The area A is like from these areas that were defined during the Oslo Accords, and A with the Arab area. B is area that is both, B for both, and C is the Israeli, the area that belongs to us. And that is the area that you're going to see how the Arabs, Palestinians are actually trying to take over this area.
Gila, we are not see the movie. We see your screen, but not the movie. Okay.
I've got it on back. Oh, 1 second. Can you hear it?
We hear you, but we are not see your screen. You need to do share screen.
Let's try it again, folks. Okay, thanks. I was just going to check that. I'm going to try it again. Sorry. Can you see now?
No, you need to do share screen, show the screen. You choose one page to show. You need to do share screen that all your screen will.
It's even not sharing at the moment, anything. And I've got this in my background. Wow.
If you want me to join and explain a few things, yeah, and then put the
absolutely.
Okay. Gila, maybe you will introduce Daniela. Show the movie. And you know what? Maybe I will introduce in the time that Gila will fix this issue. So I'm very happy that Daniela were able to join us today. It's a very busy day today in Israel because many of you might heard and some of you got our update message that in Friday it was a very, very big simcha, very, very big achievement. A new Jewish home, a new home became to be a Jewish place in Hebron, a house that we purchased. And we are now all dealing with this issue, and we have more than 15 families that moved there in Friday, and we did there a great Shabbat, which was very emotional and very excitement. And this is why we are now very, very busy in political aspect and in all the technical aspect. And I'm very happy that Daniela did the effort and joined us today. Daniela actually one of the people that were involved in revolution in our history and lead them, and today she's lead also our movement. She's the head of our movement Nachala, and she lead all of this program that we are speaking about and all our activities in the last 15 years. And I will be more than happy, Daniela, if you can share with us your point of view of when we're talking about changing the Israeli policy in the government to create this idea of establishing new settlement, new Yeshuvim to be the policy of the government. It's a big change, and how this revolution, how this change can happen through pioneering and active and organizing those established of new Yeshuvim, and why the public support is so important for this program to succeed.
Okay, so may I proceed from this point? Shalom, everybody. I'm speaking to you from Hebron. It's you know, I'm in the middle of the street of Hebron. I was planning to stay at home and speak to you in a more civilized way, shall I put it this way, using the screen of my computer. But things are very hectic now in Hebron as we entered a big building, a big house that we just purchased. We bought it some time ago, and 15 families entered this new building. This is a big achievement because, as most of you probably know, building for Jews in Hebron is a very difficult political issue. So we, Nachala movement, together with Archivi movement, we work very hard on buying property from Arabs. I assume that you ask the question, how do Arabs sell? Aren't they afraid to sell to Jews? The answer is that Arabs sell. The answer is also they are afraid. So this is exactly what is going on in the nearby building, which I had to leave, and I gladly and do this work with you. But I want to explain that once we entered the building that we bought, the Arabs started creating unrest in the area and claiming that the Arab didn't sell us the property because the Arab is afraid of his friends and the people around in Hebron, and also from the Palestinian Authority. So I came here to strengthen the people who live in the house, and many people are coming now from all over the country to strengthen the families that live in this new building. So I must tell you that this Zoom meeting, this webinar happened to be on a very, very important day where we bought a new building after we have Beit Shalom and Beit Machpelah and Beit Rachel and Beit Leah, and now we have this Beit Atkuma. So altogether, it's a big achievement. Actually, the original plan of this webinar, of this meeting, was that I give you a very clear, give you examples, or how shall I put it? An observation, an opportunity to see how on different occasions in history, and I must say, what I bring here is from my personal experience, for what I saw with my own eyes, how we managed to overcome difficulties and create important revolutions in history. I can briefly say, although I would have loved to extend on it, that even my parents and my in-laws, they made a big revolution when they came to Eretz Israel 100 years ago, when they came to Tel Aviv, when Tel Aviv was just a chain of dunes on the coast of the Mediterranean Sea. And now Tel Aviv is a city of 500,000 Jews. So when at the time came for me and my husband and our two little girls, at that time we had only two little ones, the time came for us to continue in the footsteps of our parents and grandparents. It was only a natural act of continuing the Zionistic act of redeeming the land and building communities and houses, and actually we had a farm near Tel Aviv in Bnei Brak. People cannot believe that Bnei Brak used to be a place of farms, but so it was. So I continue with my children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren the way of pioneers of all of all generations. Now, a specific chapter in our history in redeeming the land in Shomron is the chapter that describes, that was the first steps of a few families. I was one of them with my husband and my two little ones, as I mentioned. 10 families, only 10 families were in Shomron when I'm speaking in the end of the year 1975. When Lital and before that Gila spoke about our plans for the near future, about establishing more communities, more townships, continuing to develop Yehuda and Shomron. When they mentioned it, I know that some of you, and I know from meeting so many people all around, that people say, how can you be sure? How can we be sure that it will come true, that it will really happen? So I say, don't say this, don't pose this question to me, because my parents made the revolution, my grandparents, my great grand Safta Rapta of my, they all were people who made revolutions. So I continue in their footsteps. But I want to draw your attention to a specific thing that I was personally part of. No Jews in Samaria. And my friends in Tel Aviv saying to me, how come you leave your home, your friends, your kehillah, your community, everything, your parnasa, your everything, to go to they called it in those days, to the dark hills, to the black hills of Samaria. No Jew there. So I said, I go there because I know that God gave Judea and Samaria to us in the 6-day war, in the miraculous 6-day war. God gave us the birthplace of our nation, not to leave it bare and deserted, or to enemies, God forbid. But God gave us this Shiloh and Beit El and Tekoa and Dotan and Shechem and Hebron, where we are now. God gave this to us in order to return Jewish life to these areas. So I said to my friends, but they were crying that I was leaving them and I was going to this big question mark on the hills. And now, as Lital just mentioned, hundreds of communities, hundreds of thousands of Jews across the Green Line, close to 900,000 Jews. Think that we were just 10 families, and a few families here in Hebron, and a few families in Kfar Etzion. Now, when people say to me, how will you build 10 families, 10 settlements, 10 communities, 10 townships, when the world is against it, the US against it, Europe is against it, the Arabs are against it, the left side of the political map is against it. So I say to people, why do you say this to me? I can prove to you that we can make the Jewish nation with pioneers, can make revolutions, just as we made revolution number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, so on and so forth. So we will make another revolution. And I want to finish this presentation. And as I'm now in Hebron, I can tell you, I'm sure that those of you of our, the people who participate in this meeting, visited Israel more than once, and of course, Hebron and the tomb of the patriarchs and matriarchs more than once. Now it seems to you so obvious that people pray in the tomb of the patriarchs, I can tell you that before the settlers came to Hebron in 68, headed by Rabbi Moshe Levinger and his wife Miriam, Jews could not enter the tomb of the patriarchs. And even after the 6-Day War, they had to confront so many difficulties, but they did it. And now people come by tens of thousands on Shabbat Chayei Sarah. People come every month, every Rosh Chodesh, to pray in Marat HaMachpelah. And I look at the people going, hundreds and thousands, going and praying in Marat HaMachpelah. And I say, do you realize that you're coming by masses to the tomb of the patriarchs is a big miracle? So like miracle number 1, miracle number 2, miracle number 3, miracle number 4, 5, 6, the miracles that I've seen in my own life. So there will be another miracle by Jews who make an effort to build the land, and Be'ezrat Hashem, God willing, we'll have the blessing in our future plan as we had in our past plans that dreams became reality. So Be'ezrat Hashem, God willing, our plan on the 20th of July to establish 10 new Jewish communities on the mountains of Judea and Samaria, will become a reality, Be'ezrat Hashem, with your help too. Here I return to Gila and Lital.
Thank you, Daniela. Mamash, bravo. I think that you could, all our participants here could understand that with Daniela at the helm and Lital and the team there as well, it's going to happen. Be'ezrat Hashem, it will really happen. If Daniela made Kedumim happen, and Kedumim was, she called it a dark mountain. Now it is a thriving settlement which is spread over many mountains in the Shomron. It is unbelievable. Okay, now you're going to say to me, okay, I mean, I'm sure many of you have been totally enthused and are excited by what is happening here. And you'll say, but Gila, some of us are living overseas. What can we do? So the first thing is, if you're in Israel, then of course we want you to come and join us as we go up to those, up to all of those new settlements, please God, that we establish. We're going to have a WhatsApp group so you could find out what's going on and how you can help. I think that we've mentioned it a few times today, the fact that the effect, the influence of people in the diaspora on what goes on in Israel is great. You have a lot of influence if you're living in Chutz La'aretz over what happens here. You could write letters to the politicians in Israel. It will make a difference. Send us a copy so we can follow up and we can see what's going on. Okay? You could also, we're going to send you a picture, a photo of various places, and we want you to print that picture out and take a photo of yourself with that picture showing that you are with Yehuda and Shomron. You are together with us in establishing the issue. When the government here understands how the overseas people, how people in Chutz La'aretz are really so supportive of this mission to expand Yehuda and Shomron and to live in our homeland, a basic right, when the government understands that there is such a groundswell and it is so deeply and broadly supported, they're going to have to come on board. So we're going to join us on our email groups. Respond to your emails, okay? We're going to send out an email, and I apologize that I couldn't get that video going, but the movie. So what I'm going to do is we're going to send you a link to it, and you'll be able to watch it at your leisure. You can share it as well, because you're going to see our pioneers, but you're going to see what the plan is of the Arabs. They are planning to make a continuum. Their plan is to strangle the Jewish settlements and create a continuum of Palestinian villages, and that's where they're going to create their state. And we are not going to let that happen, okay? We are all we are all here. We're strong and we have great people at the lead. So thank you everybody for joining us. If you'd like to ask Daniela or Nital, if you'd like to ask a question, then you could do so now. Okay. So if we have any questions or comments. Yes, Tamar.
Yeah.
Tamar, unmute yourself, Tamar.
באמצע זום לארצות הברית.
1 second. Tamar.
Okay. Hi.
Hi, Tamar.
Hi. Hi. So I did actually put in the chat. I wanted to know, first of all, I might have missed the beginning, but what is the status now with Aviatar? And also something that just I found last week incredibly upsetting was the a report about the state comptroller's report that just came out, indicating that between 2019 and 2021, I'm probably not going to work because I don't have it in front of me now, but that there was enormous security breaches, and it's been very easy for infiltrators to get in, not only around Judea and Samaria, but also along the northern border. And I mean, when I read that, I mean, I was like absolutely astonished, in addition to the fact that the report says that there were money set aside to repair whatever breaches in the security, whether it's a fence or, you know, however it's set up there, that money has not been released. And it's just like, I mean, to me, I was like astounded, as much as we, of course, all support building more communities, because that is, like the Lubavitcher Rebbe said, really the best way to prevent people from taking over Jewish areas. But how do you respond to that? And you talked a lot about, you know, working on the political front. So what's your, you know, what are your comments? What do you have to say?
Okay.
I'm ready to refer to some of the points you read. First of all, the question of Eviatar. As I mentioned in one of the meetings, or some of them on these international meetings,
Sorry.
I explained.
Oh, okay, hang up, Saratova. Saratova, hang up. Okay, go on.
I want to explain now too that right now in Eviatar, there is a military basis of the IDF. There are 50 buildings and a synagogue and the Beit Midrash and the kindergarten. All the buildings are there, and the army is taking care of the place. Another thing that was improved was a government property survey, which proved that the hill on which Eviatar is located is government property, which means that we can establish a community over there. As I mentioned in connection with my previous reference, there are pressures from the world, from the US and Europe, and also from different parties in the Israeli political picture, pressures from the world and from inside Israel against building communities. Now, as the government is committed to letting our families, the Nachala families, return to Eviatar, they cannot leave the place. That is to say, they must take care of it. But as far as the Minister of Defense, Benny Gantz, is concerned, he is very much influenced and very much instructed, I would say, by the left side of the political map and by the Arabs, which prevents him from allowing us to enter in spite of the contract that he signed and his commitment. So what we do, we impose political pressures, we have our demonstrations, and we try hard to influence, especially now that elections are at the door. We try to influence the parties that are now in the opposition to, first of all, to accept that once they come to government, they will enable us to return to Eviatar. Moreover, even now, if the Bennett government wants to remain, they must keep their word, and let us return. Why they do not do it? As Rabbi Chaim Druckmann here, one of the prominent rabbis in Israel, says, he said to me, how can I explain that Minister of Defense doesn't keep his word? So I said to the big rabbi, I am not a big rabbi, but I understand in the settlement activities and also some politics. I said, as Benny Gantz is under pressure of Arabs and the world and the leftists, he prefers to go with them rather than with us, the right-wing people and the settlers. So the summing up of all my analysis is that we have to impose many more pressures in order for this to finally happen. At least I'm partly, one can say, partly, I cannot say relaxed, but I have some satisfaction that we at least can, we see that the Israeli flag on the top of the hill and that the army people are there, and we continue with our pressures on the government. As for your question about what was the second part of your reference?
The security funds.
The security funds.
Yeah.
It was about. I thought the question was about the growing dangers, the growing, security danger.
The report came out and it just said that the state controller found enormous breaches along the northern border with Lebanon. I mean, where Hezbollah is. No, Sarah Toba, hang up. I'm on a Zoom. Hang up. I'll see you soon.
Okay, 1 second, Tamar. It's getting late. We're gonna have to close up in a sec. Okay, so basically, we've got security breaches, and agreements, security agreements, and funding that hasn't gone where it's supposed to be directed. I don't know if it's something that you want to address, Daniela.
Why? I mean, how we get the funding for security for communities, or it's a broader question about Israel? I didn't get the point, because was asked about the eastern border and all this, which is high above my responsibility. As far as the communities are concerned, we do not deal with fundraising for security causes, if that was the question.
Okay, I think we're going to leave it here for now. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much to everybody for joining us. We appreciate your support, and we will send follow-up emails. Please join us in our missions. We need you. Each of your voices is an important voice. Okay. Laila Tov, have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful evening. All the best.
Thank you very much.